Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We need to talk about days of our lives right now because the absolute unthinkable just happened and my heart is completely shattered. Chanel loses the baby. Yes, you heard me right. Right out of the gate, we are dealing with a devastating miscarriage this week. It is brutal, it is heartbreaking, and honestly, it's completely changing the trajectory of her entire breast cancer storyline. Can you believe it? The writers are really putting our girl through the absolute ringer right now. Grab your tissues, you guys, because we have to unpack this entire hospital scene, what this means for Chanel and Johnny's marriage, and why I actually think this tragedy might be a twisted blessing in disguise. Let's get into it. All right, let's quickly break down the facts of what actually went down on screen. So, just last week, Chanel had that massive, tearjerker consultation with her oncologist. She made the agonizing choice to refuse radiation therapy. Why? Because she was about 2 or 3 months pregnant and wanted to protect her unborn baby at all costs. Noble? Yes. Terrifying? Absolutely. But then, out of nowhere, disaster strikes this week. Chanel starts experiencing severe cramping and bleeding. She is rushed to the hospital, and the scene is just chaotic and gut-wrenching. She's surrounded by her support system, Paulina, Lani, Johnny, and Dr. Kayla Brady. Johnny is panicking, telling Kayla that his wife is bleeding. You can literally see the terror in Chanel's eyes as she cries out that she's scared. And then Kayla clears the room. She kicks everyone out. And guys, that's the universal soap opera signal that the worst has happened. Chanel has lost the baby. Now, let's be real for a second. We need to talk about Lani being in that room. That was not a coincidence. That was brilliant, heartbreaking writing. If you cast your minds back to about 6 or 7 years ago, around 2018, Lani went through the exact same hell when she lost her baby boy, David Abraham. Remember how totally destroyed she was? Remember how she basically lost her grip on reality and became obsessed with baby David? Lani knows the soul-crushing weight of a miscarriage better than anyone else in Salem. Having Lani stand there, watching Chanel go through this, oh my gosh. It's just brilliant legacy storytelling. Lani is going to be the anchor Chanel needs, because Paulina is going to completely spiral. Let's talk about Paulina. I love Jacques Harry, but Paulina is a total control freak. When things go wrong, she smothers her daughters. I am calling it right now. Paulina is going to project all her grief into rage. She's going to blame the hospital, blame the doctors, maybe even subconsciously blame Johnny for not protecting Chanel. And speaking of Johnny, poor Johnny. This is the classic Demera. Brady, curse striking again. Think about his mom, Sammy Brady. Sammy lost Sydney temporarily, but the grief was real. She lost Will, again, soap opera death, but she felt the pain. The legacy of trauma in this family is insane. Johnny is watching the love of his life slip away, and he is entirely powerless. He wanted this baby so badly, but deep down, I bet Johnny is secretly, guiltily relieved. But here's the kicker, and this is where I'm going to get a little controversial. A lot of fans think Chanel's initial choice to refuse treatment was this beautiful, selfless act of maternal love. But I actually think it was incredibly reckless. I love Chanel. She is a phenomenal character, but sacrificing her own life when she is so young? Leaving Johnny a widower? That's crazy. This brings up a massive, almost theological debate that the show is heavily hinting at. Was this miscarriage a sign from God? Think about it. Chanel was choosing death. She was refusing the radiation. By nature taking its course and ending this pregnancy early, the major roadblock to her cancer treatment is gone. Did God or fate or the universe intervene to force Chanel to save her own life? I know it sounds harsh, but sometimes the darkest tragedies on these shows are the catalyst for survival. This miscarriage is an awful, traumatic event, but it is literally the only thing that is going to get Chanel back into that oncology chair. So, where do we go from here? What is the end game for this plot twist? First of all, the psychological fallout is going to be massive. Chanel isn't just going to snap back and say, okay, give me the radiation. No way. I predict she is going to fall into a deep, dark depression. She's going to feel like her body failed her twice, first with the breast cancer, and now with the baby. She might even refuse treatment again out of pure apathy and grief, believing she deserves to be punished for losing the child. This is where the DiMera money and power need to come into play. EJ is Johnny's dad. You really think EJ is going to sit back and watch his son's wife waste away? Absolutely not. I wouldn't be surprised if EJ pulls some shady, classic DiMera strings to bring in an experimental, world-class specialist from Europe to save Chanel. Also, watch out for a major rift between Johnny and Chanel. Grief destroys couples on soap operas. It just does. Think about Abigail and Chad back in the day, or Brady and Chloe. When a couple loses a baby, they stop communicating. Johnny is going to push for the radiation, and Chanel is going to resent him for moving on from the baby too fast. It's going to be messy, it's going to be raw, and honestly, the acting is going to be Emmy-worthy. What an absolutely insane week in Salem. I am still processing that hospital scene. It was just a masterclass in tension and heartbreak. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know down in the comments, do you think this miscarriage is a twisted act of divine intervention to force Chanel into getting radiation? How do you think Johnny is really feeling deep down inside? And is Paulina going to make everything worse? Sound off below. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive. And subscribe so you don't miss any more Salem updates. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.